Congressman, you've been watching all this take place overseas, I imagine. They're 12 hours ahead of us. What is your practical hope for the result of Kim Jong-un, Trump 2?
Well, I'm very cautious when I see what's happening. This is a regime that does not want to give up their nuclear program because they feel that's key to their own survival. That's the only way they think they survive in that region is have nuclear weapons. So I'm very, very cautious with anything that's going to come out of there. And we'll see how it goes today and tomorrow.
Okay, Congressman, the House passed the resolution to block the president's emergency declaration. You were a part of that. You have said that the Constitution mandates that Congress, not the executive branch, has the power of the purse. Why do you think that the wall would be ineffective and expensive?
Well, first and foremost, the Congress appropriated money to go to projects like in Northeast Ohio and in Ohio. We're going to potentially lose about $80 million of military construction projects at Camp Garfield, Youngstown Air Reserve Station, and Wright-Patt Air Force Base, money that the Congress and President signed into law that's supposed to go there. So now he's going to take it and put it on the border. I'm for border security big time. I think we need to use technology. We need to use barriers where they can be helpful, but there are areas that it can't be helpful. You can't put the wall in the middle of the Rio Grande River. You're not going to go down and seize property from farmers and ranchers in South Texas, and even Republicans down there don't want that to happen. I just want to see the money spent where the problem is. 90% of drugs are coming through ports of entry. We need it there. Fentanyl's coming from China through the United States Postal Service. We need more technology there. So it's a disagreement on how to do it, not that we need to make sure drugs don't come into the country.
Well, Congressman, apparently Mike Pence, the vice president, met with senators yesterday and addressed that very issue that you were talking about. If they take some of the money and reprogram it for the wall from a military, and you were just talking about that, the vice president said that military construction projects would not be jeopardized because the money would be replaced. And so that would be good news. But it sounds like, you know, so many people in your party, in the Democratic Party, Congressman, just don't want to give the president a win. And suddenly a wall, which is a national security issue, is a political thing.
Yeah, well, no question. The president had about $1.7 billion already, $100 million on the wall from the last budget and previous budgets. So he needs to spend that money. But the reality of it is, look, he's the president, but the House is Democratic. The House is Democratic, and then in the Senate you need 60 votes for a lot of this stuff. So he's got to compromise. We all have to compromise to make this happen. I hope we can get this issue off the table and start talking about jobs, the economy, the future of work, our competition with China. We've got to solve this problem because, you know, China's prepared right now.
Absolutely. And Tim, it just sounds like, Congressman, it just sounds like you understand that a barrier works. You wanted him off the wall. He's on the barrier and the fence. It seems like not only does Nancy Pelosi not think it works, but you have Beto O'Rourke who said, if I'm elected president or whatever, I'm pulling up the fence. Are you one of those guys, take out the fence?
No, well, we spent a lot of money putting barriers on that southern border, and it's been helpful in some areas. I'm not for taking those down. I am for upgrading. We've got lots of technology now. It's 2019. We don't drive Model T cars, and we don't use rotary dial phones anymore, and the same applies to our homeland security and our national security. We should use that technology. And that's a lot of money to go back and say we're going to start taking down these walls. But let's be, I'm just saying, let's be smart. Let's just get together and do the smartest thing we possibly can on this.
For a change.
For a change.
All right, there's some rumors out there that you might be running for president.
I'm very strongly considering it. I think this country is divided. I think we're not focused on the issues that people are really concerned about, how they're going to have retirement security, how they're going to have enough to make their house payment. Those are issues, how we're going to educate our kids. I'm really concerned about our competition with China. You know, divided country is a weak country, and China is coming at us. And the American people got to recognize we've got to get prepared for this competition. And I'm not hearing a lot about it. I mean, and so, you know, I'm strongly considering it. And I think, you know, those working class people who take a shower after work, their voices still aren't being heard in Washington.
When will you make the announcement?
Probably the next few weeks, I'm going to make a decision, and we're having those conversations. I'm out listening to a lot of people. I was in New Hampshire this past week and had some really good meetings out there. So we're going to make a decision pretty soon.
Right, Congressman. There are so many people already running. I think we're close to 10 or 12 so far on your side. But what's unique about you is you're moderate. Meanwhile, during the primary, so many people are rushing so far to the left where, it doesn't matter how much health care costs, or the Green New Deal is going to cost so much money for so many people. Why are you going to take that lane, being the moderate Democrat?
Well, I think it's the lane of unification. It's the lane of making sure that everybody's at the table. I mean, when we're talking about growing the economy, of course we need workers, and of course we got to address income inequality and greed and some of these things that are really eroding the economic system. But we also have to work with business. We're not going to compete with China. We're not going to redevelop the workforce development. We're not going to invest into artificial intelligence and additive manufacturing and dominate those industries around the world if we're not all at the table, and that includes the business community. Look, we have the magic of the free enterprise system. We've got to use that in order to green the economy, decarbonize the economy. You can't do it without business. You can't do it without the profit motive. You can fight against greed, but you can't fight against that. That's our comparative advantage to China in the long term.
Exactly.
And so I want to make sure that we're using every asset we have. Includes the innovation that comes from free enterprise.
Yeah, you don't hear free enterprise and Democrats linked. You're one of the first I've heard say that in a long time. Congressman, hope you come back here and make your announcement.
All right.
Your announcement.
All right. Thank you.